Anyway, you may as well start. We've got all of the usual blurb to do at the beginning anyway, so that will give people a little bit more time to join if anyone does. So hopefully, press that. We've moved on to the antitrust policy notice, which is always my favorite part. So please read this yourself. This meeting, as with all other meetings, are done under the Linux Foundation antitrust policy. If you're a member company, you can contact Andrew Updegrove of the firm listed on this slide. If you're unhappy about any of this, then please leave the meeting. And if you've got any other questions, you can go to your own counsel. Hopefully that covers it, and hopefully it was being shown. Well, no one's left, so looks good. Hopefully. Am I onto the agenda now, Chris? Is all that working fine?
Yes.
Okay, good. Pretty simple today. Project news, some stuff from Chris on the spec work group, some stuff from me, and then any other business. So OpenChain project news. Okay, this has been put together by Shane, so there's not too much that I can really add to this. Apparently, OpenChain mini summit at OSS EU was amazing, and certainly I've seen on LinkedIn some of the photos, so it looks like it was a good event. But personally, I didn't go, and I don't know if anybody else did that's on the call. If they did, then please unmute and say how much you enjoyed it, or key takeaways, or whatever.
Hi, hello everyone. This is my first time joining this meeting, but I was at the mini summit and got to know this project. And I also teach at university. That's why I'm interested in the educational aspects. Yeah, it was a very nice summit, and nice to meet you, everyone.
Oh, okay, thanks very much. Yeah, and welcome to the group. So apparently the AI guide is approved to release, which is exciting. And actually, I had heard of this from some of the attendees that I know that went, that the SBOM study group is becoming a formal work group. And I know there's a lot of effort that's going into SBOM in general. And so we've also got this cross-industry guide, which all looks like good stuff.
Yeah, I was also at
Yeah.
the mini summit. It was very good. It was some great talks at it. Also just to point out as well, I think you are sharing your presenter screen as opposed to the main screen, because we can see your next slide, what's coming up.
Oh, that's a shame, because on my other screen it's showing just the straight thing. I, I never know how to set this up to get it to work how I expect it to be. So if you don't mind, I'll just leave it as it is, because at least it's sort of working, if that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, no, it's no
I
problem. It's always good just to, it's usually me that does this. I'm usually the one to do it, but when I do it, there's usually notes there for something. So that's why it's always good to point it out.
Yeah, I don't want to mess around with it now, I think.
No, that always is clumsy. I just read an article that I believe it's OWASP and SPDX have gotten together and discussed their two frameworks and came to the realization that they're both on very similar paths. So they have agreed to merge their efforts and have it be a joint project. So that will be good. That'll certainly keep the SBOM work group in business working.
Yeah, and I believe the automotive people wanted to do a guide for themselves as well. So yeah, there's a lot of effort going in this area at the moment. Quite exciting. Okay, I'm going to move on to the spec work group and show some QR codes. And over to you, Chris.
Okay, so Shane didn't talk to me about these two spec groups here, but what they are is QR codes that take you right to those specifications, which is pretty handy dandy. So I was going to try it after the meeting, but I'm sure if Shane went to all the work of putting the QR codes out on the slide, that it's ready for action.
Okay, good. My guess it's to lead into this particular slide and questions for the community.
Yeah, and this is related to the survey that we talked about at the mini summit in Colorado here a couple of months ago, and we decided that we should put out a survey and kind of collect the community's opinions on how well do those two sister specifications work together, and are there any shortfalls or omissions between them that we could also look at coming out of the survey here. So if you go to the next page, you'll see that some of the results have started coming in, and so they have them tabulated here with the yeses, of course, being green and no's being red. And then there are some folks out there who say that the one or both of the processes aren't applicable to them, at least at this time. So what we need to do is we need to kind of go through these, and you can go to the next slide for a minute. Oh, okay. So that's all the comments that have come on back so far. And those are the companies that issued the responses to the questionnaire. And of course, they're not in order, so you can't go back and look and see which one said what, which is fine. We want it to be anonymous, but we want their real feelings about what they've got. This,
Yeah, I think so. I'm one of the people that did it, so it's not very anonymous. I think from a feedback on the actual page, there was quite a lot of required information that you had to put in, including like website URL, and then www.firstlightfusion.com wasn't acceptable. I had to add http:// before it. So I think it would be good if somebody could look at it and actually decide what is actually mandatory information to enter the form and what shouldn't be, and also probably ought to say whether it's anonymous or not, because I don't think it mentioned that. And although the results are anonymous, obviously the company names have been given here. So I think that probably ought to be looked at as well, because it may put some people off from entering the information.
okay. Because this is something that we're just using within our community, and we're not certainly going to publish this, at least I guess we can double check that with Shane, but I don't know what the issue would be that we're naming the companies, because we have named kind of continuously as people announce that they're compliant with the processes, who they are. So they've already been named. And I think if we don't, I can see what you're saying with those few results back, that it's easier to cross-reference names and comments, but Yeah, I think that might not be a bad idea now that we've got this, to take a little bit deeper look at the questionnaire and go back and look at the responses that have come back and see if maybe that was kind of off-putting to them. I didn't really understand the comment from Company X there saying that the security specification was effectively irrelevant to them because they're just the recipient of software and they don't really distribute a lot of it. And I thought, well, don't you want to know that the software is without vulnerabilities?
Well, I
So
guess I can answer that. It depends on what the software is for, right? If it's just, for example, um, converting one file type to another, there's no real security issue. You know, you're not providing a way of somebody to get hold of personal information. You know, obviously it depends on what the software is for as to whether security and aspects are important or not, whether they're hosted via a website or whatever, right?
yeah, I think the 18974 specification is really not designed to specifically look at PII, things like that from a security standpoint. It's more about the vulnerabilities, malware, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
if they're really not important to a company, then there's no sense in them adopting the spec. I agree with that.
Yeah, I think that's just what that is saying. Oh, I moved on. Sorry, clicked a button and we moved. I don't know. Is there any other comments on this at the moment, or anything you want to discuss around it further, Chris?
Now, if you want to go back one page and see if anybody
Mm.
has any comments on the yes, nos, maybe so's.
Well, obviously somebody found a shortfall, so I'd be interested, obviously, to know what that actually is. So I would have hoped they left a comment, or maybe it's somebody that's already registered an issue. I suppose if they've done that, it doesn't really matter. But that's the thing that stood out to me.
Yeah, I think that for all of the questions that have a yes, and the yes means that there's a shortfall or some kind of a lack of information that leads to a disconnect between the two specifications or with one specification, that we probably need to go and look and find out what their comment was, and we can work those within the group just like we've worked comments
Hmm.
in the past and getting those resolved.
Yeah, I agree. So that's my only comment from these. Is obviously there was someone has found some shortfall in both specs, so it'd be great to know what that is so we can address it.
Yes.
Okay, shall I move on in that case?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Chris. So then it's me for the education working group, and I won't say very much, to be honest. Yeah, the last month or so has obviously been a holiday period for at least people around Europe. So not an awful lot has happened. There is this one bug fix to the LFC 193 content that has been made. This is one of the coloring on one of the diagrams, which was incorrect. So at least we've fixed that, and you'll get the correct content if you go to the course on GitHub now. And yeah, in the sample that we support, sample policy spreadsheet, there is a training tab which kind of gives some clues as to different roles in the policy, what sort of training materials and things they should have. And I've added links to that to give pointers to the different courses, OpenChain material, and even externally. So one link to the Chaos project, one of their guides, and a link to the to-do group and one of their guides as well, just to kind of stitch things together a little bit, so we help people, pointing them into the right sort of information and help in case they get stuck. And I think that was the only slide that I did for me. So is there any questions about anything that's happening in the education working group at the moment?
You might,
okay.
can you open up that sample policy training page and just kind of briefly let everybody take a look at it? That might spur any questions if people have them.
Well, that sounds dangerous to go outside of the spreadsheet.
Oh, okay.
Let's see if I can manage that. Let's see. Stop sharing. And then you have to bear with me. I think I did show it on the last call, and it's almost the same. Right. With me if I figure out how to. Okay, better share it. Try from sharing from within. Oh, are you able to see a spreadsheet now? Because it looks tiny for me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, then let's. If I can. They've put an annoying button right where I need to press. I can't show the first one, but this spreadsheet that contains sample policy text has got quite a few different tabs showing different information, including things which you could use as like a code acceptance criteria and process in your policy. And one of these tabs was training. So it has some kind of like modules. It's a matrix, so it's modules description of what sort of thing ought to be in there, and then like different roles and whether a particular role should have training in that particular topic. So it's a little bit complicated, but you know, you can always simplify it down by merging some of these roles together, be a junior developer, UI developer, release engineer, etc., etc. Topics like what is intellectual property is probably applicable to everyone. Basically, I added in this particular column here, which is resources which people could be using. So kind of like an overview of the OpenChain project. Then obviously we've got some OpenChain high-level material that Shane put together that's for that. The things about introduction to copyright, etc. Then that's covered by the LFC 193 course. So either straight to the Linux Foundation training, online one, or you can also get it from our GitHub as well. So I kind of added this information here. So we have the 193 course, the 194 course covers other parts. In terms of tooling, well, it's not actually required, but it is mentioned in some of the some of our courses. And also you can go to OpenChain resources for the tooling working group. Some in here, this question is trainings related to engagement with open source projects themselves, which is why I've kind of referenced the to-do group here as well, and the Chaos Practitioner Guide. So yeah, this is just information to help people put together training courses or set of modules or a training program for the different people that in their OpenChain compliant policy. Okay. And that was sent round a few weeks ago without any substantive comments. So I think this will be checked in by Shane shortly if it hasn't been already. Okay, any comments or questions about this? Nope. Okay.
No, I think that was a good piece of work.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me go back to this one then. Which now seems to be sharing in a completely different way.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, it's just looking different on my two monitors. Okay, so any other business? I guess there'll be one thing that I will mention because I've partly arranged it. So the UK OpenChain Working Group will have a face-to-face meeting, stroke virtual meeting next week, hosted by Bristow's in London. It's Tuesday afternoon, the 16th. So if you're interested in going, attending virtually or physically, then please register for that. You'll find information. Shane's linked to it from the OpenChain LinkedIn, and it's gone via the UK Working Group mailing list and LinkedIn page. So if anyone's in the UK, then it'd be great to see you there. And that's it for me for any other business. Does anyone else have anything?
Nothing from me.
Okay. In that case, we're probably at the infamous close of meeting slide in that case. So thanks everyone for joining and taking part, and we'll see you at the next one.
All right. Thank you, Martin.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, everyone.